Hi everyone, my name is Lakhavinder Singh. I'm director of Value Buyers Agency. I've been investing in property for more than 10 years, and I want to talk about property investors mindset. If you want to be a property investor who own more than 2-3 properties, then you need to have a very different mindset. Otherwise you probably not gonna get there. The first quality that you need to have is you need to be comfortable with debt, because every property that you buy is probably gonna involve debt. So you need to be very comfortable with getting on debt. In order to be comfortable, you probably need to work out your cash flow well in advance before you even buy a property. So the first thing you need to do is maybe take out one of those online calculators, or one of those spreadsheet, Excel sheet, which can show you the exact cash flow. So once you have that, you do your number before you even buy a property. That will also guide you what sort of property you should be buying. So for example, if you have borrowing power of around $400,000 property, and you need to know what sort of cash flow you can handle, because every property brings a little bit of a negative cash flow if it's bought on market. In order to get a positive cash flow property, you probably need to find a property which is under market value, or it is like a fixer upper, like a very really rundown property which you maybe put some money in and to bring it up to the market value. Doesn't matter which market you buy, when you pay on market price, most cases is going to be negative, because you know how rental market and capital growth works. So generally the yield will be around 5 to 5.5%, and when it starts to go to 6%, property prices goes up, and then yield always stay very close to 5%, 5.5%. So generally property that will produce 8% yield or 9% yield is not going to be a simple on market property. Either it's going to be a rundown property that you need to fix, or it needs to have some sort of problems that you solve, and as a result you get a better yield. If you're getting 8%, 7% yield without doing anything, that means there's a red flags, there's something wrong with the property, and you need to be aware of that. Second quality a property investor needs to have is you need to be a hustler. You shouldn't be taking no as an answer, because when you start to build your portfolio after buying 1 or 2 property, you're gonna run out of borrowing. So when banks say no, you probably need to ask them what can I do to bring my borrowing power back. So that they might give you some hint like you need to increase your income by 20,000, 30,000. So once you have that number, you can try to get that, either doing a second job or maybe doing whatever you need to do. If that doesn't happen, then you probably should be aware of other options. Like if you're borrowing from a main bank, you probably have to go to a different bank which is like a second tier or third tier lender in order to increase your borrowing. So there are multiple ways, and those ways only comes to you when you are educated and you're networking with the right people. Third very important quality that you need to have is you need to stand out of the crowd, because as you know, we have 25.5 million people in Australia, and there are only just over 2 million people who are property investors, and most of those property investors are accidental investors. They never really intended to be property investor. They bought a house and it was too small, and then they moved to second house, and the first property become investment property. So that's how most people become property investors. So percentage of those people is really high, around 70%, because they own 1 property or maximum 2 properties. And when we move toward real investors, someone who have 3 properties or more, the percentage drop really sharply, all the way from 70% to around 6%. So only 6% of the people who own 3 properties, and when we move from 3 properties to 6 properties, the percentage is really small. When you are a property investor who own multiple properties, there are many people who are going to talk negative about you, because they're going to say, oh, you are buying all the properties, what about us, how are we going to survive? But you need to understand, when you buy a property is still in the market. You didn't take the property out of the market, it's still there, actually helping one family to live there, and you're probably creating more jobs for builders and construction people who can go and build more properties. So instead of being negative about it, you can be very positive and have abundance mindset. When you reach to a stage where you're actually standing out of the crowd, there can be many people who wanna try to discourage you, and the number of people who are going to discourage you is a lot more, because as we already discussed, we only have 2 million property investors, and rest 23 million people, they are not investors, so they're probably going to talk negative about it. So you need to be aware of that. Thanks for listening. I hope you got some value out of it. Please subscribe, and I will bring more videos related to property investment.